Let me turn this air off so y'all can hear me. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. That's not this kind of video, y'all. Tip advice number 1, never get white couch, especially if you have a dog. Just don't do it. I'm getting over being a little sick, guys, so bear with me. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Keziah Vi. If you are not subscribed already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and go ahead and like this video as well. Happy to have y'all watching today. So guys, today we're going through my college journey. Keziah, why are we going through your college journey? I would say I feel like I have a very unique journey. Maybe that's me being delusional, but I think a lot of people relate to me in the sense of you have multiple passions, you have multiple things you could really see yourself doing in life. And I feel like the realm of the college world just does not necessarily support that in a sense. I have transferred schools, I've switched majors, I've added minors, I've added certificates, I've moved in, I've moved out, I lived on campus, I lived off campus, and yeah, it was a lot. So we're just gonna jump right into it, and we're gonna start sort of like from graduating high school. So my senior year, I took a college engineering course. I was in physics and I was in, you know, AP classes. I played sports, I was in band, I was in drumline, I was in all these things, and I was in like AP classes. So like basically I was like a nerd, and like in a subcategory I was a nerd. So I was in AP Calc, I was in engineering course, which I loved that class, and I'll insert a picture like somewhere over here. Each project sort of went through a different type of engineering. My favorite project, I literally printed this out and had it on a frame on my desk for years. I still have that picture, like I hold it so dear. But basically we made a chair solely out of cardboard, and not to flex, but it was the best chair out of the class, and no one can say anything different, respectfully. Yeah, we basically made this like Shea lounge, and it was so fun. In my mind, I was like, okay, I think I'm going construction management, civil engineering route. And so that's what the mindset I had going into college. And so I applied around. The main school I wanted to get in, I did not get into, which honestly, looking back now, was just God himself being like, girl. So I was so set on not staying in Cincinnati. I really didn't even want to stay in Ohio, let's be honest, but that ended up being the best offer. I basically got full ride to a local school, and it was awesome. I praise God for that, honestly, because you know, education is such a valuable thing. I think growing up with my mom being a teacher, my dad being a teacher at one point as well, education was just such a big deal. And I think also racially, culturally, education is such a big deal to me, and I hold it so dear. So that full ride really was just like a gift from God in my eyes. In looking back, it is still a gift from God, no doubt. And so I ended up going there, and you know, I didn't want to stay in Cincinnati, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna live on campus. So I did that. Here's what you don't know is I graduated during the pandemic, and so COVID was very much a big deal. So campus was dead. Campus was so dead. And so my university, they had this thing where they would cut in half the number of people that would typically be in a dorm. It was meant to be for 4 girls to live in, but because of COVID, they allowed 2 girls to live in, which is honestly really nice. Like, it was spacious, y'all. Like, I brought all my wardrobe. It was great. But so I moved in there, met my roommate. We were not the same, did not get along. So basically before the semester was even over, I moved out, and I moved into a single, basically super isolating. And because it was COVID, you couldn't eat in the dining halls. It was all to go. I will say I was really good about leaving my dorm and like getting dressed each day, because I feel like when I'm depressed, I do the exact opposite, and I work in my bed for the entirety of the day. And so I will say I was dressing up, I was looking cute, and I was going to different rooms on campus to study, things like that. First semester, I'm trying to basically do something that's never been done and double major in construction management and civil engineering. Everybody's like, Keziah, you cannot do that. And I'm like, but what if I can? Because I'm literally so delusional, guys. If I think I can, like, if there's even a drop of wonder if I can do it or not, I can do it. In my mind, I can do it. I can do anything. Because at this point, I have enough AP classes and stuff. I'm already a year ahead. And so, like, literally administrators and leads of colleges are like, Keziah, you cannot do that. So eventually I narrowed down. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go with construction management. And so while I was sort of figuring out which of the two I was going to major in, I basically had talked to someone who was in construction management, who knew one of my professors. They were from a very well-known construction company local to Cincinnati. She reached back out and was like, honestly, you're ready for co-op soon. And if you guys don't use the term co-op, it's basically like an internship. And so we started the interview process. And I'm a freshman, you know, it's the fall semester of my freshman year. So this is a big deal. Like, oh, I'm interviewing for internship. Like, sick. Again, a blessing, right? And so a local stadium was actually being built by them. And so they were like, why don't you come in to give you a tour of the office? You can link up with other female construction managers. And then we can take a tour of the stadium together. And in my mind, I'm like, holy shit. This is so cool, like, because I'm a nerd, guys. I love this stuff. And they were like, basically like, we'll be in touch and we want to have a follow-up interview. And so we put that on the calendar. I was really vibing with the people. It was great. It really was, just all around. Let's fast forward. I'm in a study room in like the business center on our campus, right? And it's the day before the interview. My brother at the time had a job that required a lot of travel. So he had just gotten back from South Africa. Basically, he's like, yo, I have COVID. Now, let's put this into context. I mean, this is prime time pandemic. I mean, there were no vaccines. I used to have like seasonal asthma. And so in my mind, I'm literally just like, oh, I'm gonna die if I get COVID. So we got it as well. And I immediately was like, oh shit. And I'm in this business center looking around like, oh my God, I'm the problem. I sped back to my dorm and was basically like, yo, I need to go home and stay the f away from people. Like, I'm not trying to spread this. And so I got really sick. Pre-vaccine COVID just hit different, guys. Leading up to me getting COVID, I keep sort of feeling nudges from God. And he's sort of like tugging at me. Is this really what you think you're supposed to do with the rest of your life? And so me and God are arguing at this point. Because God, I've got the interview. I've basically got the job. The education's on track. Like, and also the job stability was a huge aspect for me. I want a family, God, and when is there not going to be construction? Like, that's the most stable job I feel like there could be. And so me and God are literally going back and forth. I say we're arguing, but it's really me just having an attitude with God. So when I'm sick, I'm low. Like, I felt just so horrible. One night I had so much trouble breathing. I was just laying on my stomach, and like I said, I'm ignorant, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die. Like, and I barely had asthma, guys, but I remember like I was struggling to breathe so much and my anxiety was not helping, and I was literally like, God, if I die tonight, like, no, I love you. And so that night really like was really God tapping into my heart and being like, this is not the career field for you. Was I listening though? No, still wasn't listening. So basically I've healed from COVID at this point. And they were like, that's totally fine. Once you're cleared by your doctor, like, just email us back, blah, blah, blah. And so I did. I emailed them back. And remember, at the beginning of this, they contacted me for the interview. I had met one of them, not expecting any of this. They reached out to me. They wanted to give me the tour, like, blah, blah, blah. They were really taking care of me, y'all. Why do I literally email these people multiple times to reschedule this interview? Radio silence, nothing. I was like, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you, Jesus. I hear you. Hey, like, if I'm not supposed to be an engineer, God, what am I supposed to do? And so I'm looking up majors. I'm taking personality tests again and like doing all this stuff because, like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm someone who has multiple passions. So I love sports. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, sports management, or maybe I can be a trainer. One problem with that, Keziah, I'm squeamish, guys. I'm so squeamish. I'm literally such a punk. Because when it comes to broken bones and stuff, that's fine. Like, sprains, muscular stuff, yeah, that's all me. But if someone sheds a drop of blood, you cannot do your job. And so I was like, you cannot be a trainer. I used to play drums. I used to play set. I was in drum line. I also love to sing. So I was like, music, like, what a better way to glorify God. I was not feeling it. I do like this, but I don't love this. And that's really what God was talking to me and saying is, this is part of the generational growth. And so in my mind, the generational growth that I felt called to, I was like, oh, civil engineering, that's a stable job. That's income for my family no matter what. And to me, that was what that generational growth meant. And that's not. He basically was telling me the ability to enjoy your job and career is the true generational growth. You don't have to have a job you hate just to get by. You have the privilege of not only getting this dope education that was all paid for, right? But you also have the opportunity to love what you do while providing for the family that I'm going to give you in the future. And so I was like, okay, God, what can I see myself doing every single day? God, I really don't know. And so he said, he was like, what is the one constant in your life that you can't live without, that you can't see yourself in this world without? And I'm like, career-wise, I have no idea. And then I realized it was art. My mom has been an art teacher my entire life. We used to go in her class, help her set up the art boards for shows and mat stuff, and I would do samples for her projects and all this stuff as a kid. And I just never stopped doing that. Even through high school, you had the option of going more like the art route, or you could go music route for those creative credits. And so I went music route with drumline and all of that. I hadn't taken an art class until my senior year of high school, and I just sort of did it for funsies, like, sure. And I loved it. I fell back in love with it. And so God was like, yeah, that's why I've been telling you, you're supposed to do that. At this point, it's spring semester. I've been taking business classes. I've acquired a marketing minor and I loved it. And so now I'm switching to what they called communication design major, basically graphic design. God sort of told me my purpose, is to be able to reach people through my work, to have others see themselves in my work. And then when I switched to the communication studies, I ended up getting a triple minor. It was Africana Studies, Marketing, and Fashion Studies. And then I had a certificate in creative writing. It was a lot. And I was so happy with it. Africana Studies, being a Black multiracial designer, I really wanted to have that historical background. The marketing, I love branding. The graphic design plays into that beautifully as well too, right? Fashion Studies was just another place to really input that culture. Then the creative writing has always been an outlet for me. And actually through that certificate, I was able to get my first work published. To me, that's the beauty of education. That's me taking advantage of this privilege of having education. And maybe that's delusional because you can't have 8 minors and blah blah blah. Call me delusional, I can't help it. Now this is where this story is gonna get a little spotty. I've officially gotten into this program. I'm getting started. I'm darkest person in these classrooms, guys. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like I could be myself in those classes. But at this point, it wasn't so much showing your artistic voice yet. It was really just acquiring the basic skills. So I felt it in a sense, but not fully until like the next year. I'm not going to get into the full story, but basically there was a situation and a lot of stuff came from me and 2 of my closest best friends addressing that in the school. It was one of the hardest times of my life, and I think they would honestly agree. But basically, I was not allowed to return. I also just want to say, it's not like I don't want to share what happened. I do. But I respect for those other people, my best friends that shared that horrific experience with me. I'm not going to be the sole one to talk about our experience. I hope I come to you in the future and we're able to all sit down and talk about our collective experience, because we went through that shit together. But I respect for them and what we went through as individuals, but also as a group. I'm not going to go into detail about that, and I don't want that to be what this video is about. So moving on, I transferred And so I'm now at a much better place, much better environment. It is a private school. All of my work centers on social justice and inclusivity. And so having a program that supports that was very important to me. And they did that 10,000%. And they still are. And so fast forward, I had my first show. I'll like insert a little picture, but this show was so valuable to me. It was pieces I really poured my heart into, and they were paintings. They were multimedia paintings, so they also had like fabric on them, whatever. I put a lot of work into that, and it was through this fellowship through Artworks, which is if you're in Cincinnati, is a fantastic program. And so basically a mentor of mine from school, he came to my show and was like, "Why are you only a graphic designer?" And I kid you not, that echoed in my brain for weeks. Why are you just a graphic designer? Why are you just a graphic designer? And I literally was going insane because I was like, why am I just a graphic designer? Because again, I'm someone with multiple passions. And so this concept of just having one thing is so foreign to me. At my new school, I'm doing graphic design. All my projects I'm wanting to really take further into like 3D mediums and all of these things, and that's just not really the space I'm in, right? I'm in the space where you're creating websites, you're branding for clients, which I still loved and I still do. But I was like, is this all I want to do ever? So I changed my major again, and I am now majoring in fine arts. With that, I have specialties. I specialize in graphic design as well as sculpture. And so I'm still sort of getting into the sculpture stuff, but I was able to really carry over those graphic design credits that I had over to the fine arts aspect. And so for me, this is a great mix of me being able to paint, to create sculptures, ceramics, and illustrations, but also coupled with my graphic design, because all of the projects in graphic design that people loved or I've gotten awards for, it was something that I basically made outside the computer. I'll insert a picture of the first sort of award I got was for these pieces right here, and they were all social justice based. I did this in like a vase with tape. I printed out letters, I cut stuff up, and then I brought it into the computer, right? I'll even insert another project was basically talking about the pay gaps and the problems and the rifts between Black designers and white designers in the industry. And so these are just very small projects that I had a great time making. Again, it was just a moment of that echo of why am I just a graphic designer? I did have to add a semester, so I will be graduating in 2025 in December, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm gonna throw the biggest party because I graduated high school in a car, so college is lit over here, okay? Throughout all of this, God has just been guiding me. I thought I was done with the craziness after I changed majors, and then I wasn't able to return, and then again God was like, push yourself further. And that's terrifying. All of this was terrifying, right? It wasn't as easy or simply put. There were breakdowns and meltdowns. I'm talking with advisors. They looking at me like I'm absolutely insane. They would just be like, Keziah, what are you doing? But life is too short to be putting yourself into a job that you're not gonna love. And I realized that that's a huge privilege to have. That's a moment of generational growth for my family, of not just having some crap out job to just get by and provide for the family, but having a consistent income and a great job that I adore, that I believe I can do God's purpose in, right? And so that's a huge blessing to have. My opportunity to even have this education, access to it, and be able to do what I feel called to do is such a blessing, and I don't take that for granted. And I hope those of you that have that also don't take that for granted. Also remember, I'm not doing this for just like a piece of paper to appease my parents. My crush is also a finance major, so I'm gonna be like, that's not what this is for. This is our lives. So I'm so blessed to be where I'm at. I'm super pumped. In the next videos, we'll start getting into vlogs at school and really getting into the projects. I'm going to take you guys with me into my classes and into different studios I'm in, and I'm so excited. Like, the sculpture stuff is new and I'm jumping into it. I'm rebranding myself and really building up my website to represent this new change. I'm going through this college life as a Black designer, and I just want to shake some shit up. Like, I really just want to have a ball and do what I was put on this earth to do, all to glorify God. And so I'm super pumped. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and go ahead and like this video, give it a nice thumbs up. I will see y'all in the next video. I love you guys. Thank you for listening to me yap about my journey. I hope this was helpful to someone. I will see you next week for that college in my life content that I'm so pumped about. Okay, I love y'all. I'll see you next week. Bye.